They call him the American Monk. He has 100,000 followers on Facebook. He has more than 400 videos on YouTube. He's published more than 25 books. He's held more than 900 three-day workshops all over the world. Some call what the now 92-year-old American Monk does hard to believe. Thousands of others have said that this man has assisted them to live a more fulfilling life. Some call him a healer, others a magician, and others a quack. We were so intrigued by Burt Goldman's story that we wanted to interview him. Here he is now from his California home. How you doing today, Burt?
I'm doing very good, and today is a nice day for a change in California. It's been raining and it's beautifully sunshiny now, and the weather is about 72 degrees, so it's going to be a perfect day. Good day for an interview.
I'm sure many watching us today are wondering why you've been called the American Monk, Burt.
I get asked that quite a bit. Actually, I was a monk for a very short while. I was in the Army in the Second World War, and I got out in 1948 and found myself at a loss as to what to do. And long story, I wound up as a monk. But my friends, they kind of kid me about it every now and again. And one of them slapped the appellation on me that I was the American Monk. I guess I was a long, long time ago.
Burt, if I may ask, when was the first time that you realized that you could heal?
Well, I had learned some healing methods from some, let's say, spiritual masters in the 40s while I was in the Army. And I had all this knowledge, but I didn't really believe it. I mean, I knew how to heal the procedure. I was taught to do certain things with my mind, certain things with my hands, and things would happen. But I was kind of skeptical. I didn't really believe it. At any rate, I had this knowledge, but I never applied it. And one day I was in a stationery store, actually, and I was checking out, and the cashier, a woman, had a very painful look on her face. And I said, "What's wrong?" "Oh," she said, "I've got this terrible migraine headache, and it's driving me crazy." I said, "Really?" I said, "Bend over," just like that. You know, when somebody gives you a command, just out of the blue like that, it's a little confusing to you, and you usually obey. This is one of the precepts of hypnotism. Not that I was hypnotizing her, I just automatically said it, bend over. And I was going to use one of the techniques that I had learned. And she rather dutifully bent her head down, like so. And I put my hands over her, and I used the technique that I learned in Korea, using energy, pouring out of one hand, going into the other. Now, this woman is laying with her head bent over the counter, and she must have been thinking, "What am I doing? This crazy person walks in and she picks up her head. And she says, "What do you mean? What do you want me to bend over?" And I looked at her and I smiled. And I said, "How's your headache?" And she looks at me and she said, "Oh, it's gone." "But what did you do?" And I was kind of embarrassed. I said, "Nothing." And I won't. That was the very first time I healed somebody. And then after that, I wanted to try this particular technique out. Anytime a friend of mine had anything wrong, I'd say, "Let me take care of it."
So when you've used the term heal, what exactly do you mean?
When we use healing, we're not necessarily speaking about healing an affliction, a problem, healing an illness, healing a pain. There is that, of course, that's part of it. But we're also talking about healing a relationship, healing a problem area where we seem to make the wrong choices in life. I think one of the most important things that you'll have with one of our energized paintings is this. As we go through life, as we travel on the road to life, we're constantly being beset by choices. Now, these choices are also incidents that create the cause and effect. The painting is an insignificant event. When you program your painting, or rather, I should say, when I program your painting, what you're doing is setting up an insignificant event that will ultimately manifest in something that is vital to your health, to your affluence, to your relationships, to everything in your life, and also to your motivation and to your choices.
That's interesting, Burt. We did some research and found that you were all over the internet with a lot of stories from people who've claimed that you've helped them. How did you transition from that revelation in the stationery store to the masses of people that you've helped over the years?
I started doing seminars. And every time I did a seminar, I would say to the people, anybody who's in any pain or has any problem, come to the front and I'll show you a technique to heal. And they would come in, and I started healing people one after the other. Sometimes I do it in mass. I think there's a YouTube of me healing 30 people at the National Guild of Hypnotists Convention, where I was doing a lecture on spiritual healing and tying it into hypnotic healing, showing that hypnotic trance and meditation trance, which is a trance also, are very much the same thing. It just depends on how you view them. But that was the first time that I healed. Since then, the number is in the thousands, because I very often would have groups of 300 and 400 people, and I'd have them all stand up and do a mass healing.
Well, look, it sounds like you have no shortage of stories. But what I'm really curious about is what led to your discovery about how you can improve people's lives through your paintings?
I've got literally hundreds of stories on healing. But the one that led me to the painting icon, the healing through the paintings that I do, all happened coincidental. Lots of coincidences happen that are really leading us to a particular place. But I was doing a seminar in Laredo, Texas, actually, and I was talking, and there was a young woman in the class, and she was annoying. She would ask questions that had nothing to do with the subject, just to draw attention to herself. And I started talking about healing, and she jumps up and says, "Heal me, I got a problem, I got a problem." And I wanted to get her out of the room, but I wanted to do it politely. And so I said, "All right, come to the front, and I want to show you I'm going to do something." And I went over to the blackboard, and I drew a stick figure. The head, the body, an arm here, an arm here. I said to her, "Now let your eye roam around that figure that I drew." It was just like a doodle. And she did. And I said, "Now you have to go outside the room and sit and meditate quietly for half an hour, and your problem will be resolved." And everybody, they were silently applauding. He's finally getting her out of the room, out of our hair. And she said, "Do I have to go out?" I said, "You have to go out. You have to be alone for it to work." And she walked out of the room, and everybody started applauding. I finally got rid of the pain in the neck. She's outside for about 30 seconds, no more than a minute. She runs in. She's all excited, so excited. "It's gone, it's gone, it's gone." I said, "What's gone?" And she said, the lump is gone." She had a problem in her head, and there was a little lump there, which I had felt before she left. He said, "Feel, it's gone." And I put my hand up where the lump was, and sure enough, there was no lump there.
And do you think that it was your doodle that actually healed her? I'd love to hear more and perhaps another example if you have the time.
Now, I didn't believe that what I did took care of the lump, but it was kind of fascinating that she believed the lump was gone. And I told her, I said, "You have to go to a doctor and make sure that whatever that was there is truly gone, and tell her that you had a lump and it just disappeared. Don't tell her that I did it, because she won't believe you anyway." After that, I had to do another seminar in Hawaii. So I go to Hawaii about a week later, and I'm doing a seminar, and I'm thinking about that doodle that I drew, and the woman looked at it and ran her eyes around it. And I'm thinking, I got to check this out, because with my healing, I've been doing research for 50 years. It's all I do is research. And I still, even today, I'm researching to see if I could get a better technique, a better unlock another secret that's there, that's obvious. At any rate, I'm back to Hawaii. I said, "Anybody got any problems?" And someone said, "I got a headache." Headaches are easy. But I said, "I want to try." I learned something in Laredo, Texas. I said, let me do it for you. And so I drew another doodle on the blackboard. And I said, look at that and feel the energy coming out of that. There's energy coming out of it. Because I just put energy into it. And so she's looking at the doodle. And I said, now draw that energy out of it. And she's drawing it out. And she smiles and said, the headache's gone. I said, oh, good. And then a fellow in the room stands up. And he says, now, I'm not exaggerating. It sounds like I'm going to exaggerate. I'm not. He stands up and he says, well, that work for us, dammer. I said, well, let's see. Come out to the front. I never say no. And I drew another doodle, and I said, run your eyes around it. Feel that energy pouring into your throat. And after about a minute of looking at the doodle, he says, I think I can join Toastmasters now. And he smiled.
So we've talked about your healing power, but I'm really curious to hear more about your painting, when you realized that your paintings had healing power too, and what you plan to do with this revelation.
The first time that I started to paint, I was 78. I had never painted before then. And I started painting, and I was pretty much like any other painter, but I seem to have got the hang of it. People like my work. I've got them in Saudi Arabia, I've got them in Israel, I've got them in Sweden and New Zealand, Portugal and Spain and England. You name a country, somebody will have one of my paintings there. And they all love them, so there's something to the painting. But when I hit the age of, I was 91, and I figure if it works, it works. I'm going to start something entirely new at 91. And I thought, I wonder if I could put that energy into one of my paintings. Well, let me see. And so I was doing a seminar called ZAP, Z-A-P. And like always, I said, is anyone here who's got any problems? And yeah, 2 or 3 people did. And so I took one of my paintings and I energized it. I literally threw energy into it. Now look at the painting and just feel the energy coming to you. Feel it. And one by one, there were 3 of them. One person had a foot problem. He stopped limping. Another one had a neck problem. Another had a shoulder problem. All 3 were healed. And I thought, that's what I want to do with the rest of my life. I want to take my painting and paint them specifically for one individual, infused with energy. And I did. And it works. And it's very popular. And that's what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. Energizing paintings for specific people on commission to help them.
Burt, I'm sure you already know that any reasonable person is going to ask, how can your imprinted paintings possibly provide healing relief? Can you explain exactly how this works?
I'll give you the best answer that I can think of. I haven't a clue. I don't know how it works. Some people think it's a placebo. Fine. I don't care. All I'm interested in, does it work? I know that it works. I know that it's not a magic wand. It doesn't work every single time. Nothing does. I get a clue I teach the 7 principles of Hermes. One of the principles is the principle of vibrations. Another is the principle of polarity, the principle of gender, of correspondence, of cause and effect. I'm always considering and working with these particular principles. Now, when I say that I put energy into a painting, it sounds like a story. I'm making something up. What do you mean you're putting energy? How can you put energy? Well, let's talk a little bit about energy and rhythm. Let's take something that we know the actual frequency of rhythm and vibrations. That's music. Let's take a guitar string, the A string. You pluck it. If it's tuned right at 880, it sounds beautiful. Now let's loosen that string. So it's no longer 880. Now it's 870. You might say that if you had a good ear, you might say, your guitar doesn't sound right. It's a little off key. You might say that the guitar had a cold. Loosen a little bit more, pneumonia. You don't even recognize the A anymore because the vibrations are so far off. Well, as it is with the guitar string, as it is with the note A, so it is with the human body. We are also vibrating at a particular frequency. The frequency is different with everyone. The frequency is different with every cell of your body. All a healer does is adjust the frequency at some level. And when I say I energize a painting, what I do is I use the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as below, so above. How I use that is, as it is mentally, so it is physically. As it is mentally, so it is spiritually. You want to understand the physical, look to the mental. You want to understand the mental, look to the physical. You want to understand the spiritual, which is the greatest mystery of all, get a good understanding of the physical and of the mental. What we're talking about now are building the mental images to produce a particular type of an energy. I build an image in my mind of that person. Let's say a person is ill. I visualize that person walking briskly down a familiar street. Because when you're walking briskly, you're comfortable and you're not ill. Once I build that, now I have to think about the subject that it's going to. In this case, a painting that belongs to a particular person who commissioned that painting. And then I thrust that energy into the painting. And there's a few other things that I do to strengthen it for the individual.
Okay, Burt, you said that this isn't a magic wand, but I have to say, sure sounds like a magic wand.
It's not a magic wand. There's no such thing as a magic wand, but it helps in self-esteem. It helps in confidence. It helps in motivation. Does it help in healing? From the reports we get, yes. But basically, that's all that it is. It's an understanding of the basic principles, the gender principle, the outgoing, the incoming, the rhythm. We all have a particular rhythm. When you change the rhythm, you change what the rhythm represents. We want to get that A back to 880. We want to get your body back to where your immune system is working full time and you're a healthy individual and you're happy and you're comfortable.
Assuming that this does in fact work, why do you think that you've been able to do what others have yet to achieve as it relates to this specific kind of healing?
A lot of good questions you're asking me. Why me? There's about 1 million artists, more than 1 million. I'm one of them. That makes me one of 1 million. But I'm an abstractionist. When you look at an abstract, you see different things in it. There are about 100,000 abstract artists. So now I'm one of 100,000 instead of one of 1 million. Now, how many healers are there? Well, let's say there's 1,000 healers. So now I'm one of 1,000. Now, how many of those healers are also artists? Well, that will probably cut that 1,000 down to maybe 100. Now, how many healers have the ability to take that healing and put it into a canvas so that a person will be affected by it? Well, now we're down to just one. I'm the only person in the world that I know of that does what I do. Why me? Why not me?
For those out there who might not be art collectors, why should they consider buying one of your healing imprinted paintings?
The ultimate question. Why should you buy one? Maybe you don't want a painting hanging on your wall. Then again, maybe you do. But let me give you a couple of reasons why you should. Number one, you should buy it because you'll have an original painting that people can talk about hanging on your wall that you'll be proud of. Number two, and this is an important one, as an investment. The one thing that you can be absolutely sure of, the only thing that I am absolutely positive of, the paintings will go up in value. They have, and they will. After all, I'm 92. I'm not going to last forever. In 10 years, if I'm still around, who knows what these paintings will be worth. In 20 years, I tell people, buy one because your grandson or your granddaughter will be able to buy an apartment house with it. Whatever you paid for it, next year you will have made money on it. But you're not going to sell it. Why aren't you going to sell it? Because aside from having something nice on your wall, besides having an investment, you have got a healing agency, an icon of success, an icon of motivation. Let's say you get up one morning and you feel, oh boy, I feel blessed, but I got to do something. All you have to do is walk over to your painting and put your hand on it, and I guarantee, bang, you're up and running. You're motivated to do. You're motivated to go, because that's the kind of energy that's in there. And the energy is in there forever. The more energy you take out, the stronger it gets. It doesn't get weaker. Energy begets energy.
To satisfy the skeptics out there, I have to ask, are your paintings guaranteed to work?
Well, as I said, there's no such thing as a magic wand. Does it work? Yes, it works. Does it work every single time? I can guarantee you that it won't work every single time. But it will work enough of the time so that you will have your own private icon that you can always get to help you in life. That I can guarantee. But as far as the money end of it is concerned, I only want happy money. Hey, listen, I'm 92. What do I? All I want is people to be happy. I only want happy money. And I want the price to go up. I want you to pay more, because the more you pay, the more the next person will pay. And pretty soon yours will be worth twice what you paid, 3 times what you paid, 4 times what you paid. But what if you're unhappy with it? Well, you're going to know within 30 days whether you like it or not. First of all, I'll be showing you a photo of the painting that I paint for you before you even purchase it. So you'll know what you're getting. If you don't like it, so far everyone's liked it. But, you know, there are some people who may say, I don't like it. Then I'll paint another one for you. I do that. I'm set to do 3 of them for any individual if they don't like the first one. So far, everyone has liked the first one. But let's say you don't care for it for whatever reason. In 30 days, return it, money back in full. I only want happy money. That's always been my mantra, always.
Let me share with those watching us now what some have said about the value that you've brought to them.
I actually discovered Burt Goldman about 5 years ago when I found him on YouTube and observed some amazing stories about what he's done in his workshop and seminars. When I got his painting, I was a little bit skeptical on all the things that the painting was supposed to do for me, but I have to tell you, I was so surprised, and I'm still surprised to this day. Actually, the day I got the painting, things began to happen. I don't know, was it a coincidence? I'm wondering, because a lot of things happened at once. First of all, I had better focus. I got more work done than I'd ever gotten done before. I felt better. I felt happier. Also, much to my surprise, some money came into our lives, which was totally unexpected. Already great relationships got even better, and people were kind of attracted to me, smiling, I guess because I'm happier, that everybody around me was happier. You know, it's kind of like a laundry list of things that happened, and it was hard for me to believe, and it may be for you, but like Burt says, when we're talking about the painting that he was going to send me, who cares why it works as long as it works?
Here's a lady that I worked on 22 years ago.
22 years ago, I did something to my shoulder, and I was told by a doctor that I might lose the use of my shoulder. Here I am. I went to a class that Burt Goldman was giving, having no idea who he was or what the book was going to be about. And he took a scarf and just rubbed it over my shoulder, just like he was doing now. And 22 years later, and I'm still fine. It was gone, and it continues to be gone. Thank you.
For those watching us now, some of them may be wondering how they can get one of your paintings. How exactly does that work?
We wanted to make it as simple as possible. So basically, here's what you do. First, you click on the order painting button on my website. You select the size of the painting that you want. This has nothing to do with the painting, only the size of the canvas. And then you pay the deposit amount so that I can start work. So anyway, once you've paid the deposit, then you'll be asked some questions. Like, very briefly, tell me what your hobbies are, what your favorite color is, and then what would you like the painting to do for you? Would it be for affluence, for health, for pain resolution, for friendship, motivation, stress problems, happiness? After I get the answers to the questions, and we make it easy for you, it'll be in our website, then I'll begin to work on the painting that you commissioned. The painting process also includes me energizing it. That's what turns it into an energized painting. That's what makes it different from any other painting that's ever been painted, as a matter of fact.
Thanks so much, Burt, for taking the time to talk with me today. Your life has been fascinating and quite incredible. A life dedicated to helping other people.